extraordinary pals. My name is Javanice Johnson, aka Startism, and welcome to episode 2 of my podcast, Hidden Brilliance.
Yeah.
Today we are going to have 2 amazing perspectives. I have 2 very special guests with me. Would one of you like to introduce yourselves?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay, so my name is Millie, and I am Java's godmother and auntie, but I'm also a music educator of over 16 years.
Wow.
So I have had the experience of working with a lot of students on the autism spectrum. And today we have one of my former students who is also friends with Java, Maddie.
Spooky.
Yeah, that's me. Okay. My name is Maddie, aka Miss Little Ladybug. I am 21 years old, and I am someone who is part of the spectrum. I am a graduate from 2022 from high school, and I am a board-approved stage manager.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yes, girl.
Woo! Yeah.
So, Millie, you said you've had the pleasure of working with those who are neurodiverse and on the autism spectrum. Would you like to tell us any experiences that you might have had? Do you have any?
So I started teaching in 2009 in an elementary school. And as a very young new teacher, I had no idea what to expect my first year. Yeah. So I taught pre-K through 6th grade, and one of the pre-K classes was a self-contained special ed class. So it wasn't just students with autism. They also had Down syndrome, physical disabilities. So that was my first encounter with them in the public school setting. And to be quite honest, I did not feel prepared. In college, the textbooks say nothing about the real world. It's just like, perfect classroom with all of these supplies and this lovely budget. This is how school is. But I didn't feel like I was doing I felt like I was doing a disservice to the kids because I didn't feel prepared to teach that demographic. So I actually ended up going back to college for my master's in music education, and my thesis, I did intense studying on how to help students with autism.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
So, Maddie, you said you're a borderfied.
Yes.
Would you like to run it back?
Yeah. I am a board-approved stage manager.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
awesome, girl.
So Maddie actually helps me with my productions at school. I now teach at a high school. I teach chorus and musical theater, and we got Maddie approved because she is so organized, talented, and awesome that, she's capable of so much. And I needed a right-hand person there to help me organize for the shows, spike the stage for scenery.
You had to get the goat.
Yeah,
You gotta get the goat on here. Yes.
But let's get some more information about both of you.
Okay.
So obviously we're here to discuss autism spectrum and how a spectrum is a variety. There's different personalities or different abilities, capabilities. So for each of you, how old were you, or when were you first aware that you were autistic? How did you find out? How did you feel? How did you notice, oh goodness, I'm not the same as the kids around me?
I was diagnosed very young, but I wasn't necessarily aware until I was a little older.
Okay.
I'm gonna go into my experience, but would you like to share? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
I was diagnosed when I was 2 years old, but I didn't find out until I was 17 years old. But it's because my mom didn't really know what autism was. So, when I was 17, that's when she knew more about it. So that's when she explained to me what autism was, because I didn't know what it was.
And how did you feel when she told you?
I felt relieved about it because it helped me know like what special needs meant, as I am a special needs person. So I actually felt great
It felt
hearing
good
about it.
to like know now that you could advocate even more for yourself. Now knowing that you might have different needs than other people.
Yep,
And
exactly.
get those accommodations in school, knowing, you know,
Yep.
what
Yeah.
works for you or not.
Yep.
That was very similar with me, although I wasn't fully aware, or I didn't understand everything that was happening with me until I got older. My mom always made sure that I knew as I got older so that I could advocate. So she would try to get me out in the community. When I first learned, I was diagnosed 15 months. And I got some help from therapists and everything. Then as I got older, my mom wanted to put me in extracurricular activities, but there weren't many programs for those on the autism spectrum in my town. But that didn't stop her. She was like, I'm going to get her somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to get her doing something, interacting with those who aren't on the spectrum so that she could level up.
Ooh,
Yeah,
level
level up.
So she found a Girl Scouts near my town. It was right by my grandma's. And the leader of there, she went up to her and she was like, hey, my girl's on the spectrum. Let her join. Like, can she join? And the leader of there, she was very open. She was very accepting. And she was like, well, we don't really have anyone who is not on the spectrum, but we're open to. It's just the only thing is you're going to have to be there to kind of guide us or to help her because, and to guide everyone else around because they didn't have any experience with that and they didn't know what to do. So my mom kind of became a Girl Scouts leader herself in a way, teaching the other students how to handle me if I'm in certain moods or situations, or if I'm stimming underneath the table, she'd teach them how to interact. So, you know, if they have friends in the future who are like that, they have a better understanding or just have a better understanding and insight in general.
Yep. That's the most important thing, the understanding of it. Like,
Yeah.
it made me think of my first year teaching. I felt terrible. I'm there preparing songs, and some of them can't even speak. So it's like, how can I make you sing if you can't speak?
And then
So-
knowing what I had, and
Yeah.
and knowing and like her having me go out in the community and having people handle me as I started to get older and develop and level up, like I said, as I got better, got all the accommodations, got the things I needed, the services, my mom started informing me more. She's like, you have autism, and she would have me do these little videos for Girl Scouts. I remember this one, and then she had a girl come in and interact with me and explain some of the autism from her perspective with me.
How were the other girls in the group towards you? Were they accepting? Was it difficult for them at first to get used to it?
I don't necessarily remember too much, but when I was younger, what I do remember is at first there was a lot of confusion or not understanding, but that's the innocence of kids those age. I was like around 8, so there isn't like too much intentional meanness at the beginning. It's more just like, oh, well, this isn't something we're familiar with.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Girl Scouts were very kind and open to learn, and they had strong leaders who would educate them and guide them and be like, she's different. Okay, she's gonna be with us.
Yep.
And we're going to be around that, and we're gonna learn.
Woo!
And that's what I loved about it. Like,
We love to learn.
we love to learn.
Speaking of learning, so I did tune into your last podcast. Of course, you're my goddaughter. I will support you in everything you do. But the other thing is, as a teacher, it's important to like spread knowledge. In your last podcast, I really enjoyed when April asked you what are some misconceptions people may have of people on the autism spectrum. And the one thing you said that really stuck out to me was that people seem to believe there is an autistic look.
Or a certain physical
behavior.
characteristic.
Yeah. So what I would like to do now is to present some other myths that people, you know, there's some preconceived notions, and one of the biggest things I know for you for this podcast is for people to understand what autism is, to, you know, squash the stigma and, you know, make the world a better place.
Make the world a better place, make people understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you ready for the first myth?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
So-
we ready.
Hit us. Shoot.
Some people believe that people with autism are not social or don't want friends.
Do we look like we do not want to be social?
Yeah.
Okay, jokes aside, everyone on the autism spectrum expresses their emotions differently. As you know, me and Maddie, we're very excited.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just that comfortability level because we're very comfortable with you. We're not gonna be like, "Hey," with everyone.
Yup.
We're gonna be more. Sometimes
That would be weird. Hey, teacher! That's not the time or place. No.
It could be difficult for us. No, seriously, it could be difficult for us to like start a conversation or make a friend, like I mentioned in my last podcast, and it might be different for Maddie. So, tell me, like, have you had any issues making new friends or
Oh man, like
being
if
on the
I
autism spectrum?
like if I were to meet somebody, I'll have to like get used to them like a couple of weeks, and then I will end up being friends with them. So it kind of takes me a while.
Is it difficult to approach some people sometimes
Oh
because of that awareness?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is it
girl,
that
me
makes
too.
it difficult for you? Are you anxious? Like, are you scared that they're not going to be a good person? Are you just like, what do I talk to them about? Are you like, oh no, we're making eye contact. What do I do now? Because that's kind of me at teacher
Yeah, I
parties.
just don't know. I just don't know.
Oh, they're looking at me.
how to like start a conversation with them, like what to talk about.
Okay. Well, you know, that's not just for people on the spectrum. There are times where you try to have a conversation with a typical person and it's like, okay, how's your day? Great, gotta keep it moving.
Yeah, that's it.
Figure out conversation points.
I like that we're talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
So I can't even find something to compliment that doesn't sound totally generic. I like your shoes. I like your shoes. I like your shoes. And I like both of your shoes, actually.
Oh,
Yeah. Hello.
I got distracted.
Hey.
All right, next myth. Autism only affects children.
Only affects children.
Only children.
No, it does not only affect children. Like I mentioned in my last episode, there are some people who, like I said, can mask it very easily and they might get diagnosed later on. Some people get diagnosed earlier on if they're aware.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it just magically goes away when you're older. Oh, I got diagnosed at 2. I'm cured! That's not how it works.
It's true, you know.
Like,
You're both actually adults. I mean, you're
We're both
tiny and you're
tiny.
beautiful, and you look like you're like a young little, but you're women. So you are not children anymore.
Yeah.
You're 21. You're 18. You still have autism, but you've learned with
we've learned to mask it, and we've gotten better with the
Yes.
help
how
we
to
received
manage-
earlier.
manage your.
How to just make everyday life better.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, girls. Here's another one. People with autism are not capable of feeling emotions or empathy.
I'm devoid of emotion. No.
Oh man.
There are some people on the autism spectrum, like me and Maddie, that
Yes.
express our emotions differently.
Yes.
Sometimes we won't show we're angry or we're upset or we're sad
Yep.
because we're used to masking. And for some people, they just need that level of comfortability to, or sometimes with emotions they don't know how to express.
Yep.
Or sometimes, you know, because it is a spectrum, they may not have language and they're unable to verbally
Yep,
express.
speaking.
Like,
And then
I'm
they get
hungry.
mad.
Yeah.
I wanted that cookie. Now I'm gonna throw this table. That's sometimes
that's
how
a
it like
misconception.
feels.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just
Totally
have
misconceptions.
difficulty.
Not like we don't feel. I'm not just gonna be like,
It's expressing how you
it's
feel.
expressing.
All right, which brings us to the last myth for today. Autism is the same for everyone.
No.
No, it's different.
No.
There's different levels of
It's
autism.
an autism spectrum.
Yes.
It's a spectrum.
like a rainbow.
Like a rainbow.
A rainbow. Not everyone is the same on the autism spectrum. Me and Maddie have different journeys.
Yes.
Though we are both on the autism spectrum.
Yep.
We're both higher masking, which means it could be easier for us to
Yes.
disguise. There are some people, I have members of my family, like I mentioned in my last podcast, that are totally all at completely different levels.
Mm-hmm.
One is in high school, he has a job. The other one is at the special needs school I used to be at. And sometimes you gotta just pull a little to get him to speak.
Yes.
My other cousin, she doesn't speak at all, and she uses a tablet and sign language for communication.
Yep.
And that's completely fine, as long as you're doing what you need to do
Yep.
to help them level up.
Yep. Level up. That
Get to
seems
that
be
next
the
level.
theme for
That has to
today.
be the next level.
Level up.
Level up. Level up.
All right, so now we're done with the myths and stereotypes. I want to get into the facts. Or, things that are positives with people on the spectrum or things that have been proven accurate information.
Yes.
So, here we go. So, some individuals with autism may have difficulty with social cues. So, like, let's say somebody's being. Oh, there you go. If somebody's being sarcastic to them, maybe they won't understand that somebody's being sarcastic. Maybe somebody's telling a joke and they're not getting the joke.
That's like me.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is too accurate, girl.
Too accurate? Okay, which leads to this next question here. So sometimes because they may have difficulty with social cues, it kind of makes people on the spectrum targets or easier to be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So the next question is, have either of you experienced a time in your life where you were either bullied or taken advantage of? Okay, let's start it like here. Okay, Maddie girl.
Okay. A time that I was bullied, it was when I was a freshman at high school.
Oh, Lord, high school.
And this girl came up to me in my math class and said, "Oh, girl, you special. You too little to be a freshman." So then in my next class, which was Spanish class, my sister came to my class and asked me, "Oh, was this girl actually bothering you?" So I told her, yeah, she was bothering me. So she saw her in the hallway drinking water from the water fountain, and from behind, she decided to fight her to defend me because I had difficulty defending myself. So she defended me by fighting her.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to cut in for a moment. That was not nice what she did.
We do not condone violence,
No.
but I do appreciate how she was willing to step in for her sibling.
Yes.
How did it make you feel when your sister
Ooh, it made me feel relieved.
having somebody have your back?
Having
Yes.
somebody have my back.
But
Not the beating up
Yes.
part.
also, in keeping things, we have to keep it respectful.
Yep.
And fighting is really never a good
Yeah.
solution. So now that you're older, that happened your freshman year of high school,
Yep.
and now it's several years later. How would you handle that situation differently now that you have years of experience and fighting isn't really the greatest solution? How would you handle that if the girl did that to you again?
I will take her to the principal's office and tell the principal to suspend her for what she did and face her consequences. And she better learn her lesson.
Learn her lesson. Oh, 3 points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Learn that lesson, honey.
Oh,
Wow, it's getting hot in here.
Just remind me not to mess with you when you're mad.
Or
No,
your
no.
sister. Bye. So, Java, you said you also had a situation.
Yes, when I was younger, and there are certain things that I still didn't understand or understood less. And I was at the park, the little sprinklers in my town.
Oh, yes.
And I was just chilling, minding my own business. There were these little group of Rugrat meanies, and I played tag with them once or twice, but we weren't friends. So I'm sitting there, and this one girl who's like a year younger than me, she comes up, and I'm sitting, and she's standing over me, and she asks, "Can you put your hand out?"
Oh.
What? Why? Can you put your hand out? I want to try something. And this girl raises her hand with a orange juice carton
What?
and tries to pour orange juice on my hand. And then she tries to pour it on my head. She misses my hand. She tries to pour it on my head. And I'm just there like, why?
Were you just
my
confused?
God.
I was confused. I really didn't understand bullying or like that someone would try to do that with malicious intent and someone would try to. That was also the part of social cues and not understanding why would you try to pour juice on my hand. Then thankfully my dad intervened, so I did not go home smelling like orange blossom. So I came home and I went to my mom because I tell her everything.
Yep.
And I went to her and I told her, "Something peculiar happened today." What? My mom being my mom, she thought like, oh, maybe I saw a squirrel with like 3 heads or something. And I come home and I tell her, some girl tried to pour orange juice on my hand. It was so peculiar. Java. This is what my mom said. She said, Java, are you a cup?
Oh.
What? What are you talking about, Mom? Are you a cup?
Oh.
Oh.
No. Why? Java, let me tell you one thing. You are never to pour. You are never to let anyone pour juice on your hand or anything in your hand, because you are not a cup. No one is going to be putting nothing on you. No one's going to be spilling anything on you. And she had to be so literal with me because I really just wasn't getting it. Like, I really didn't get that, like, someone would try to do that.
Someone would purposely
be trying to do that.
Ugh.
So,
what would your 18-year-old self say to that girl today? Not using her name. Orange Juice Girl. If she was right
Rugrat.
here. Rugrat.
I'm gonna call her Rugrat. Rugrat! It's not cool what you did. It's not funny. It's not cute.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something mean, but I'm not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why you did what you did. It is not my reasoning to understand. But don't do that. Because why? Like, you're trying to mess with someone who already has social difficulties making friends and is being vulnerable enough with you by innocently pouring her hand out, and you are aware that she's different. Why would you try to harm her instead of protecting her?
Yep.
You should protect people. You shouldn't be harming them. Especially just for your own enjoyment. You shouldn't be harming people at all, but to do that is, like, evil, and it's sad because, like, there are people on the autism spectrum that feel lonely, and especially at a young age, that could really hurt someone. So just
traumatize them.
Think about what you do. That's all I can say.
Wow.
There's nothing really to be said to this person because our paths crossed one time, and
it was a learning experience, and now you're older, you look back on it, and you're like, okay, that happened. I will never let that happen
That
again.
Analogy that my mom did was so funny, though.
You are not a cup.
I'm not a cup.
You are not
I'm not a cup.
Nope.
None of us are cups.
We are not cups.
Okay, so
Period.
The next fact or characteristics common in people on the autism spectrum is that they, sometimes they become overstimulated, and if they have anxiety, they do things that provide them with a sense of security. So they'll have like a ritual, or they engage in like stimming behaviors, like flapping their hands, rocking back and forth, to make themselves feel more comfortable. So what's a quirky habit or ritual that you have that might seem weird to others, but it makes you feel comfortable or happy?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about one that really stands out to me that I used to do, and I secretly sometimes do it. Sometimes I secretly do it when I'm comfy, especially with my little brother. I always used to do it with my little brother. So I had this weird thing where I would always stim with my mouth. Even when I was singing. I'm a performer, I sing. And I would always be doing something with my mouth. Sometimes it's more just subtle, like this. Or like...
So it looks like a duck face.
It looks like a duck face, but I don't know why I do it.
It's just a stimming thing.
It's just a thing. It feels, I don't know. Like, I don't even notice it a lot of the times.
I will say.
And then my friends will joke around and they'll be like, why are you doing that?
But as your aunt, I remember when you were little, you did it a lot, and you used to do it on my shoulder, and I was like, well, to your mom.
I used to go like, on my brother's shoulder, I'll just go like this.
Yeah, it just feels...
It feels good to me. I don't know why.
Okay, well, you know what? No judgment.
Sometimes I still do it.
It's okay.
I don't know why I have to try that out if it relaxes you.
I don't know.
What about you, Maddie? What do you do that other people might think is weird, but it makes you feel comfortable or less anxious?
Bringing stuffed animals to everywhere I go.
And you don't have a stuffed animal with you today?
No, I have a stress ball today.
A stress ball. Okay, so you're more of a like physical touch person.
Yeah.
So you need your stuffed animal. Do you use fidget spinners?
Oh yeah, I use anything. Those pop-it things, the fidget spinners. Yeah, stress balls.
I used to have, like the little poppets where you would like pop them with I used to love those. During
man.
2020, I had like a whole collection of them, and during the day when I was literally doing nothing, I would just be like,
Yup.
"Oh, let me try the other side." I used to love those,
Yup.
man.
I don't know
Oh my
why that
God.
just made me think of Grandma, her own fidget spinner. She has an obsession with bubble wrap. I think it's the same sensation.
Oh,
She
I
just
love
pops
bubble
that in.
wrap.
So if you run out of your fidget spinners or
yeah,
your
bubble
poppers,
wrap.
get some
Yup.
bubble wrap.
Yup.
Okay, so another characteristic. Some individuals with autism have strong attention to detail. They're extremely creative or excel in problem solving. So, what's something that you think your autism helps you with or makes you really good at?
So, for me, I love to sing, I love musical theater, and when I am so obsessed to get something down, like a song, memorizing a song, working on a scene, or a monologue,
Okay.
I get so fixated on it that I completely just work on it nonstop.
Yep.
Okay.
I
That's
live,
me,
eat,
yeah.
breathe the song. I'll be having it when I'm having a conversation. I'll
Yeah.
Knock down the microphone.
Okay.
knock down the microphone.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
so repetition.
Repetition,
and you're just
constant
fixated
repetition.
on kind of perfection. I mean, nobody is
Repetition.
perfect.
Nobody's
I feel like that's also what helps me most, along with my autism. But as a performer and as an artist, whenever learning something or a song, repetition is very helpful for me.
Yep.
Is there anything? I don't know if you've done theater, but you're a stage manager,
Yeah.
right? So, is there anything that helps relax you?
Making sure everything's cleaned up and organized, like our
Okay.
prop room, you know?
Oh, that prop room.
Man.
I have something called organized chaos.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't do well with cleaning.
Well, Maddie is also very detail oriented, which is why she's such an asset to work with. So, what else? How do you feel that your autism helps you with that?
Man, I have OCD. I have to make sure everything's perfect. If I find something in my house dirty, I will clean it up. I cannot see nothing dirty. I'm germophobic.
Me too, girl.
Yup.
That's with anything I'm passionate about. Like today, just for an example, today I was working on a scene because I'm a part of this summer musical theater intensive at my high school. And there was this one part where I kept messing up the entrance.
Oh.
And I was so OCD about it. I kept making my group rerun it, but we only had a couple of days to like get it down, and we literally only had like an hour
Oh.
to
How did it
drill
go?
stuff.
Did you-
Today it actually went pretty well. I felt like we could have had more preparation, but it's okay. It's all right.
I think in general,
we're good.
in putting on productions, you always feel like
We
you
had to
could do more.
do our own production of like, we had to create like a story for like our own like jukebox musical and present it as if we're trying to get it sold by someone.
Okay.
like a production company.
And our idea, like production, our idea was about 4 people, and it's like this whole love square. So my original idea, this is also where like the hyperfixation comes in, because I was so obsessed with this convoluted idea. Have you ever seen Othello?
Yes.
So there's this one modern version I watched.
I was going to say, wait, the Shakespeare original or the remake?
There's a remake.
The remake.
There was a remake, and I watched the movie. My mom showed me the movie, and then I explained the idea to the group, and then we kind of did our own interpretation of it, where the girl is the mastermind trying to get the guy that she likes by having him break up with her sister. She's dating the sister, and the sister is basically starting to become close to this one guy who's a new transfer. They have the same nerdy interests, but they're like the people that are people that are dating that the other one's trying to get is like a popular jock. So she's using that as like to like her advantage to kind of like break them up, but it goes way over what she planned. So that's where the twist kind of comes in,
Like a spicy
with high school
show.
drama kind of thing.
When are you supposed to put this production on?
We did it today. We showed it off today to our teacher. We showed it off today. That's why I use the example today, because we only
It's
had
fresh,
an hour
fresh
before.
information.
It's very fresh. Yeah.
All right.
Literally today.
Okay, so moving on
Okay.
to the next fact or characteristics of
Fact,
people
yes.
with autism. So just in general in life, you need a support system. You can't go through this life alone. Unfortunately, even if you want to be strong, independent, we need our team. So
Yes.
it is clear that people do better when they have the right people supporting them. So who have been some of the key people in your life, whether it's family, friends, teachers, coaches, that have helped you on your autism journey and being successful or being where you are today?
Undoubtedly, the first person that comes to mind is my mom.
Moms should be
Day
first.
one, she was the
Yup.
first person to get me help when she first found out. She was like, I don't know what to do with this kid. She's crazy. She don't speak anymore. I have to have her on a leash. What do I do? So, I mean, I wasn't on a leash at that point, but I was not verbal, so she got help, early intervention, and mainly family, other family, my mom, and then some at-home therapists that really helped. Like, there's specifically this one that I've known for years. She was my sponsor for my confirmation. She's a godsend. Like, she was the person who helped me a lot. Like, when my mom would try to go out with me, and I kid you not, she literally had me on a leash like I was a dog. And
you know,
like,
the good thing about her is that she did not have to be in your life
she
as long
didn't.
as
She
she
voluntarily.
did. She was like with you for your early years because, you know, that was her job at the time. But she was, as you said, was your confirmation sponsor. That was already years after you left her program, and she was still in your life. So I think we can't mention her name, but thank you for
Yes.
everything.
Thank you.
'cause
I love you.
She really did
Mwah.
a
If you're
lot for
watching
you.
this, mwah, I
She
love
will
you.
be watching
Mwah.
it. She watched the
Mwah.
first one. I
She did
know
watch
she
the
did.
first one.
So she will be watching
I
the
love
second
you.
one.
Today morning back.
Oh, applause.
Yay.
So, Maddie, who's your support system?
Same as what she said. My lovely, wonderful, beautiful, amazing mother.
Mama
It's the mothers. It's the mothers.
Yes. She is the GOAT. She is the greatest mother of all time. And I wish there were other mothers like that in the world. But besides that, I have my brother, my number one former favorite music teacher, which is right here. Can never forget about you. And other favorite former teachers as well.
Good. So, you have your support system. What have been some of the best pieces of advice they've given you? So I already know, or we learned today, your mom told you are not a cup, but she tells you many other things. Like, what is something that sticks out that you're like, wow, Mom, I had no idea. Thank you for that information.
Like, one of the things is that she tells me a lot of stuff. So one of the biggest things is to not be afraid to speak up. Not in those specific words, but she'll always tell me stand your ground. You are peaking. There's no reason for you to be holding yourself back. Don't ever dim your light. Those were her words. Don't ever dim your light for anyone in any situation, neither with my voice, because there are a lot of times where I'm a belter. So there's a lot of times it's difficult to blend. So never dim your light. And don't be afraid to say anything. Stand out. She's always telling me, tell her, do it.
Advocate
Don't
for
ever
yourself.
advocate.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Maddie? What is something that the GOAT has good advice that she's given you?
She always has such good advices, but one of them that she gave me was, no matter what obstacles I face in my life, I will always find my way somehow.
That
sounds like
so
something
true.
from a Disney quote.
I know.
Yeah.
That's so perfect, though.
But it's so true.
Yep.
Life is hard. We know that for typical people and especially people with, autism.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't overcome obstacles
Yep.
and you can't do things that typical people do. You're doing great things. Look at this podcast. How many typical people have podcasts?
Yeah.
I'm
Not me. You're doing great things, and we're raising awareness.
Thank you.
Thanks to the mothers.
Thanks to
Yes.
the mother. Actually, if
Thank
it wasn't
you.
for my mother, I wouldn't even be on this podcast right now. I don't even think I ever shared how I got on the podcast.
Oh, let's hear it.
Oh.
So, I won because I signed up for this karaoke battle right here at Bravery Studios. And I won.
Yay.
And my winning song was Into the Unknown.
I love when you sing that song.
I love that
Beautiful.
song. I feel it.
Your voice is
And-
music to my ears.
The winning was to get 2 hours podcast time. So the last episode was like 1 hour. And now this one is my second hour. So that's free.
Yep. And that's all thanks to your mom.
That's
for
all thanks to my mom for researching,
Yes.
figuring it out. So thank you. Sometimes I suck at research for stuff like that.
Oh,
Sometimes I don't.
listen.
But I'm getting better, and I've been
young
trying to
and
put
you're
myself out
learning.
there. Yeah.
So that actually brings us to the next question. So what's something that you're super passionate about or knowledgeable about? A lot of people on the autism spectrum, it doesn't always have to be music or arts.
Yeah.
Like when they love something,
They love something, they're
something,
like
and they're fixated. It's like,
Love.
you know, they have a horse with blinders on. They're
Yeah.
focused on what they like. So you do like to sing. Obviously, we know you like to write poetry.
I am very passionate about poetry. I am not a poet, but I recently started writing poetry when I went to this open mic night. And I wrote a lot about my journey with having autism, being on the autism spectrum. And one of them I actually wrote was about me and my journey with high school and me figuring out what I'm going to do with the future.
Well, maybe we'll get a sneak peek of that
Might.
little later
Yeah.
Might
today.
get that later.
Yes.
Ooh.
I've done a couple.
It's the sound effects for me. Oh, Maddie, what about you? So she loves to sing. She does
I
poetry.
love to act too.
acting.
I love
What are
acting.
you into?
Same thing. Singing because it brings me a soothing feeling, especially when I'm stressed. Singing became interesting to me when I joined my former high school and I was a part of choir.
Okay. I don't know why I'm acting surprised. You were in my choir.
One of those church choirs.
You sing?
Yes, I sing.
Yes.
Yes, of course I sing.
Uh-oh. Okay, so next fact or characteristic. So people with autism tend to be hypersensitive or hyposensitive to sensory input. So like sometimes if lights are too bright, it bothers them. Or if there's loud sounds, sometimes specific textures make them feel uncomfortable or smells. So I have a kind of funny question for you. If you could go without any of your 5 senses, which would it be and why?
For me, I think, I thought a lot about this. So, if I lose my sight, I can't see the beautiful things of the world. If I lose my hearing, how am I going to sing or catch a melody if I can't hear? If I somehow can't touch and, I don't know, I can't. There's certain things that I'm limited to, but it's not impossible. If I lose my sense of smell, I can't smell how I smell. I can't smell anything else around me. If I'm walking around New York City and I'm like, oh, I can't smell anything. This is great. But everyone else around me is like, oh, que feo.
Can fail.
I can't. Oh, wait, que feo was...
How ugly.
Oh! I messed up the translation. I'm the no sabo kid. I'm the no sabo kid.
So which one would you go without?
Stinky. I would go without... I would definitely go without taste.
What?
Because... Wait,
those
no,
good
hear me out. Because
I know.
you can still feel the textures, but because if, let's say I'm trying to lose weight, or how could I be like, oh, this is disgusting. I don't want no salad. I'm just eating it.
So you're thinking in terms of dietary.
Dietary.
You don't want to taste the tofu, but you want to eat healthy and get that figure right.
Yes.
Oh, you are beautiful the way you are, but I think that's hilarious. Let's see, what would you live without?
Without smell.
Me too. That was the first thing that
Without
came to mind.
smell.
Who wants to smell stinky feet or
Yup,
armpits?
yup.
We
Sweat.
don't need it. Sweat.
Stinky socks.
Hot dump trucks in the summer. No,
Yup,
thank you.
No, thank you.
Ay. Oh man.
Dang, you're gonna miss the smell of your mama's food. You're gonna miss
you
a
could
lot
still
of smell.
taste
I can
it.
taste it at least, you know?
I just
could get
like
the feeling
smelling
of it.
things. Like I like
Oh, man.
smelling good food before I big back.
Big
I
bag,
big bag.
big bag. What a mess. Okay, so we already talked about, how important it is for your support system. And obviously, I'm in your family, and I know your family.
Yes.
And they've helped both of you to reach like a lot of your goals, but sometimes our families can be a little wild.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
this question, what is the most hilarious thing your family members have done to support you or embarrass you in your creative pursuits?
I'm already thinking of something funny.
It's okay.
Okay.
No judgment.
So this is just also generally when I started transitioning into public school and I auditioned and I got into the shows, I would have rehearsals. There are sometimes where I text my mom before I got into a rehearsal, like if I needed something or just like about something, like a false alarm about something. She would come in during the rehearsals.
What?
She would come in during the rehearsals. Sometimes that or my stepdad, which is a little more embarrassing, but we're not going to talk about that. 'Cause I feel like mom's less awkward, but the dads are always more, like, weird. I think that's just a general thing.
So they just
But-
pop
Yeah.
up at rehearsal?
Like,
What do
there's
they do?
one
Join
time
you?
where I had a recent show, and it was hot. Like, really warm in the room. And I texted mom, like, oh my god, I'm so hot. And she's like, you want me to bring a shirt? I was like, okay, I don't know how she's gonna do this. But I'm like, okay. All right. And I'm just thinking, okay, I'm just gonna figure it out. And then I hear people calling my name, Java. We're setting up things for another round of rehearsal. And this woman comes in, and I see, and then someone's like, your mom's here. I'm like, mom's here.
Uh-oh.
And then I see her, and she's here with the shirts, which was great. But sometimes they'll come in at the most random times while we're doing something.
In the middle of a
In the middle of
serious scene.
something. And I mean,
Here's
the
my
support.
shirt.
Here's your shirt. Are there the times where she does come in, like once she dropped me off for one rehearsal and she brought in donuts for the entire cast. She brought in Dunkin' for the entire cast.
What?
The cast loved my mom.
I would have been like, excuse me, you cannot eat before you sing.
She
Bad
bribed
for
my
the vocal
director.
cords.
She bribed my director. She got him a donut too. So
Did he
he
eat it?
did. Everyone ate donuts, girl.
Who will not eat that donut?
What about you, Maddie? Did your family ever do anything embarrassing or funny in order to support
My
you?
brother is the most funniest, craziest one in the house.
Ooh, and what did he do?
So is mine.
Yeah, it's the brothers,
It's
you
the
know.
boys, man.
It's all the time when I'm singing and he will like sing the song like in a funny voice to embarrass me while I'm singing.
Well, okay, so we're learning now in this. I know, but you have a younger brother. You have he's younger than you too. Younger brothers. So, do your siblings support your creative endeavors, or do they like to tease you about your performances? Do you have any funny stories with your brothers?
Do you have any?
He loves to tease me, especially only me. Basically, everyone in the house teases me all
Would
the
you
time.
say he supports you though, or like?
Oh yes, he loves to support me. Yes.
I will say I have a specific memory because I did have her brother as a student as well. It was during COVID and it was like during Google Meet era. And every Friday we did karaoke on Google Meet, and she would be basically the only one with her camera on singing.
Show
But
my
then
beautiful face.
One day he did a duet with her for class, and To be honest, up until that point, I never even saw his face. It was always the ceiling of his bedroom.
The LED lights in the ceiling.
I'm like taking attendance. I'm like, oh, I see the top of your head.
Sleeping.
But for Karaoke Friday, he did sing with you. And I thought that was very sweet because, first of all, he does not like to sing.
I forced him to
He
do
also
that.
did not like to put his camera on, but he did it for you. And I was like, wow, that's a good brother. Like, he loves you and he knows
Yes,
that you
he
love to
does.
sing. He also needed the grade, but we don't
Yeah.
talk about
Oh,
that.
we don't talk about
that.
that. No, we ain't talking about that.
For me, yes and no.
Uh,
Because there are times where he'll like make fun of me, like when I'm really invested, or a lot of actors look ridiculous when they're acting from the outside or they're practicing. So I was like, what are you doing? I'm practicing. But then when I'm performing or when I'm singing, like I sang at for this cabaret at my school, he's the one recording and he's like, that's my sister!
you know, that's
That's
so
my sister!
true.
I love her! Like, oh, now you like what I'm doing, but before when I was saying, and so then, you were not feeling it.
No, it's funny because I've been in the audience with him and I actually get embarrassed. I'm like, this is not concert
He's so
etiquette.
loud, bro.
Oh, my sister's on the stage. I'm like, okay, calm down. Well, as you can see, you know, music is something that we all have in common.
Yep.
And actually, it turns out that a lot of people on the autism spectrum, you know, music does help them. There's music therapy. It helps them to express themselves. Even typical people, you know, it's a
Yeah.
way to share your creativity, your emotions. So I have some music questions for you.
Ooh,
fun.
ow, okay.
So, can you tell us about your favorite song to sing and why it makes you happy?
Birds of a feather. I love Birds of a Feather so much by Billie Eilish.
Okay, and why does it make you happy? It's just a feel good.
It invokes such happiness. It represents a lot of friendships. Sometimes it'll remind me of either friendships or if I like someone and we have like a good like, because it could be either one, but I usually just think of my childhood friends. I love you till the day that I die. I love that song so much. I love it.
Okay.
I just love
The
Billie
vocals.
Eilish.
Okay. Maddie, what about you? What's your favorite song to sing?
Well, this is a song I recently started listening to and didn't know about, but it's called One Moment in Time by Whitney Houston. And it makes me happy because I love the way she sings with all of her songs.
Whitney Houston's like my favorite.
Yes, she's so
Very
beautiful
one
too.
of a kind voice.
Yes.
Amazing.
All right, another music question. Who is your favorite musical artist or composer? And how do they inspire your own music performances? I will start. You all know I love my Bruno Mars. I love
Yup.
Bruno. I think, well, first of all, he's a hottie.
Bruno Mars, hit her up, you see it? Hit her up.
We will share my info after this podcast, honey. Just joking, halfway.
Hey, Bruno.
But
That's so
no,
real.
beyond like being a stud muffin, he is very talented. I love his style. I think he's so, the way he blends like old sounding music with current music.
Yeah.
He's like
I
so,
love that.
he is a performer. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He could dance, and he's just
That's why
my
my
dream.
favorite artist is The Weeknd.
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd, and not to sing, but like I love his music because I love the 80s, and he's recently been giving a lot of 80s
80s
vibes.
Yep.
And I love how it mixes with modern, and his voice is amazing. Like he could belt like crazy. He's awesome. I love him, and
Awesome.
I love the vibes, and I love his music, and
That's your person. Music
I feel
business.
his music very deeply.
You know, I will say the same for Bruno as well. Like he has like those fun like the lazy song today. I don't feel like that. That's like just a cool little song. But then like every day it will rain. It will
Yeah,
rain when you
it
are
will
sad.
rain.
It is raining so hard.
That's
Yes,
literally how I
Bruno.
feel with Die For You. If I were to collaborate with one artist, The Weeknd, I would love to do a collab with The Weeknd. He's like my favorite artist ever. I love his music.
Okay.
What about you,
10
Maddie?
million
Who's your favorite?
Oh man, my favorite musical artist is Frank Sinatra.
What?
Ooh.
Who does not
different.
love Frank Sinatra?
Girl, I thought you'd choose something like
Man, nah, I'm about that Frank Sinatra vibe.
Oh, what's your favorite Frankie tune?
Almost all of them. Almost all of them, but my favorite one is I've Got You Under My Skin.
Oh, hello. I did not expect that from you.
Not gonna lie, me either.
I was
got
expecting
you
like Johnny
under
Ventura.
my
Me
skin.
tiene chivo. Me tiene chivo.
I am not about that Spanish vibe.
Oh.
Girl, what?
She
No.
wants to keep it to the jazz.
Keep my
That's
English,
okay.
my country
You know what?
music,
That's
you know?
fine. It's unique, I guess.
Well, the point of this whole podcast is, accepting everybody's differences.
Accepting everyone's differences. Even if I don't know the song you just mentioned.
This question actually kind of makes me laugh. So, what's your favorite karaoke jam? And do you have a secret talent for impressions or accents?
You're making me laugh.
Oh, man. This makes me think of actually your cousin, the oldest one on the spectrum. That's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, he has limited language, but music also, like, he's drawn to music. It's really interesting to me that he has difficulty formulating full sentences, but he can sing Ed Sheeran's Photograph. But I laugh because he has the British accent when he sings it.
He
and He's like,
does?
photograph. I'm like, how do you not say a whole sentence, but you have a British accent and you're singing this thing to the best of your ability? It is amazing. I know you have some cool accents.
I have a British accent.
Let's hear it.
I pull a reverse Tom Holland.
Go, let's hear something.
What's up, mate? How you doing?
Oh, hello. Okay.
I went to the loo before we started. I don't know what else to say.
I'm glad you
That
did.
sounds more. That sounds more Australian,
Well,
actually. But yeah.
Okay.
And then I could actually do like a different voice too,
Oh.
and then I could sound like this,
Oh.
and then I could sound like this, girl.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Multiple personalities happening here.
And then I could sound like this.
Ooh, the versatility.
The versatility and
Perfect for the arts.
that's perfect. That's perfect.
Oh.
That's perfect.
What about
I got
you,
the accent
Maddie?
right. I got the accent right. I got it right.
You did it.
I got it right.
Can you do any accents?
Oh, man, I could do Sam Smith.
You could do Sam Smith.
Come I lay by your side, next to you.
That's incredible. That's amazing.
Oh.
Like that, you know?
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I'm speechless, actually.
Completely speechless. Completely speechless.
That literally made my day right
That
now.
literally made my day too. I didn't
Oh,
know.
man.
You kind of answered this earlier, but
Yes.
if you could perform a duet with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
If I can't choose The Weeknd, I'm gonna choose the pop king, Michael Jackson.
Ooh.
I love his music. I feel also The Weeknd is also like a modern day version of Michael Jackson.
His
if you
tone is
really
similar,
think
yeah.
about it. So I would love to do
MJ.
Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston.
Okay. What about you, Maddie?
Oh, man. I will do Bob Marley.
One
Love, one love, let's get together and feel alright. You know the vibe of Bob Marley, you know.
We feel it, it's a vibe, it's a
cannot
vibe.
right now. Okay, so Java, this one's specifically for you.
Okay.
So I know you love acting, you're into musical theater. What's
Yeah.
been your favorite role to play so far, and what do you like most about being on stage?
Okay. So, you know like how actors play the opposite of who they are? The last character I did was in my junior year, I believe, and that was when I first transferred over to public school part-time, and I auditioned for the role of Vivian for the Legally Blonde musical.
The villain.
I loved it because I loved playing this different character and really digging into like, ooh, who is she? How am I gonna do this as her? Who is she? What am I gonna do as her? How am I gonna do her character a service? How am I gonna service her? So that was so fun because honestly, when you're playing characters like that, you just gotta find the mean girl in you because there's always a mean girl in all of us. Like, let's be real. Let's be real.
Yup.
Like, There are times where I could be a little sassy or like
I have
everyone has
witnessed
it.
it sometimes. Just
Oh.
saying, girl, I love you, but you know, it's true. We
Yes.
all have our sides.
Did she just raise her hand in the back?
My sister in the back is
She's
going.
in the back.
No, but we all have, you know, the yin
Yes.
and
Your
our
host is
yang.
offended. Hello,
Girl.
girl.
So you enjoy playing the villain?
And-
because it's different.
Because it's different and it's not me. I love diving into different personalities.
Okay, very good. Well, Maddie, I know you prefer being behind the camera or backstage.
Man, I want to be in both.
Oh, snatch my weave. Okay,
in both.
so- all right, so what do you enjoy about being behind and or on stage behind the
Behind, making sure everything's clean, making sure everybody's in their spots, you know, where they belong,
Okay.
you know.
This is why she keeps me in check.
scenes? Me too,
And-
man.
Because like
Being on
my
stage.
organization is so bad. Not with my outfits,
Oh.
but like cleaning. Today I
Man,
tried washing
cleaning.
dishes and my mom had to pull out like the little thing for me because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Oh,
I
I
can't.
love cleaning.
You love cleaning, so that's what you
Loving.
like about being backstage, like having
Yes.
everything organized
Yeah,
and tidy.
that's
What
the OCD.
I like setting things up and making things happen, but the
Yeah.
cleaning part.
Oh man, this girl will clean.
I have a whole
witnessed
bag
her.
with Lysol
Yes,
stuff,
oh,
literally.
Man. Everybody knows when she comes to
Yeah,
school.
I
they're
know.
like-
With
That's
my
why I love
gloves, you know.
You keep my life together. Like,
Yes.
isn't that one of my best friends, guys?
Yeah.
Like, she keeps me together. Like,
Yes,
we contrast each other so
Pookie.
well. I'm crazier. She's crazy. I'm
Yes,
crazy,
we're
crazy,
all
crazy.
crazy.
We're all kind
a
of
little
whack.
mad
Yes.
here.
A little mad.
Yes.
So, if you could create your own musical or movie, what would it be about and who would play you?
For me, I feel like it would be really interesting to see a musical autobiography of myself. And a lot of I feel like I have so much lore.
Oh.
I have so much lore, and I think it'd be very interesting to see someone else portray that because I have a lot that happened in my life, and that would be so interesting to see in a musical.
Do you have an
Yeah.
actress in mind to play you?
I'm thinking very deeply about this vocally and everything. I'm thinking like maybe like China Anne McClain because she could sing.
Oh, okay.
China
That-
Anne McClain. But I was also thinking of someone who's like mixed or has a vocal range like similar to mine. So that or maybe the Holly Bailey or Holly Berry.
Oh, Holly Bailey.
Bailey.
Yeah.
I always mess that up. Holly Bailey.
Me too, girl.
Holly Bailey. Because she has an amazing like vocal range.
Mm-hmm.
One. And she's in like very musicals. I love Disney. So I would also I would love
Yes.
to have her in that. I'd have a couple people in mind, but who would you have play as you?
Well, if I would have created our own musical or play or movie, it would be called Voices of Colors.
Oh. Uh-oh.
For
Wow.
people who are in the spectrum, so they learn what like the positive things about being autistic, and they could sing, they could act, they can do what a normal person does.
Yeah.
And who I would want to star me will be Cyndi Lauper, since she has a song called True Colors.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes.
All right, so we talked a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
But, you know, we need to wrap it up here. So let's start with Maddie and then go to Java with the same question. What are some of your future goals?
My future goal that I'm hoping it happens one day is being a teacher assistant for my former teacher right here.
That will be a dream of mine because
A
you are
teacher
so helpful
assistant.
and amazing, and we're going to try our best to make that happen. We're putting it out
Yes.
in the universe. All right, so
Yes.
let's see. That is possible. So, Java, what is your future goal? I know you actually wrote a poem recently about your future. Would you like to share that with us?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to share it. It's called Unfairness and Choices.
Okay. Hit it.
Unfairness and choices. There's a thought that always puzzles me. When you look at me, what exactly do you see? Well, I'm sure you can't miss the bouncy brown curls, but seriously, do I
Oh.
look like other girls? I mean, I can appear bubbly and friendly, not to mention, I think I can be quite trendy. I suppose I'm much like
Oh.
your typical teen, but something more remains unseen. There's a thought that always puzzles me. When you look at me, do you see invisible disability? Only invisible
Mm.
because of your perception. I'm somewhat of an anomaly, some misconception. Only a disability because of stupid milestone expectations, developmental delays causing catastrophic tribulations, unfairness, and choices. I stand before you today to share my truth. I have much to say. I am no longer the child who acted all wild, the one who threw a fit, the one who bit and spit, the one who lined up toys in rows, the one who reacted with powerful blows. I bet you think that I have it good, that things are turning out the way they should. I've had to make choices that weren't too easy and weren't quite right, including the decision I make public tonight. A few days before I was to don my cap and gown, instead of feeling joy and happiness, I began feeling down. With tears in my eyes and a fast beating heart, I uttered the words, "My adult life cannot start. I need more support and I've much yet to learn," courtesy of a failed system. Like clearance at a store, final sale, no return. Thanks to my mother, I learned I have a right to take control of my schooling. I can put up a fight. Unfairness and choices. There's a thought that always puzzles me. When you look at me, when I look at me, what exactly do I see? I see a not so typical teen girl who yearns to learn and take on the world, who isn't afraid to stand up and yell, "I am who I am, and those who don't care for me, that's fine then." I am Javanice Johnson, aka Startism, a not so typical teen girl who was gifted a powerful voice, who has dealt with unfairness but recently made a choice. And today I say it with pride for all to hear. I've opted for a second senior year. A second senior year, not retained or held back. Time to get my life back on track. A chance to take back what I am owed. A chance to reap from the benefits that I will sow. Due to limited language and extreme behaviors, I spent my entire life in special schools, learning non traditionally with a variety of tools. While others learned their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, I spent my days crying and dropping to my knees. While others learned addition, subtraction, how to multiply, divide, and convert a fraction, I was working on 1 or 2 step commands, how to keep my body still, how not to stim with my hands, unfairness and choices. 2 years ago, I announced I wanted to go to college, but how could I do so with such limited knowledge? I transitioned into the world of regular education, part time in one world and part time in the other, 2 days at one school and 3 days at the other. I quickly realized how much I truly missed. Overflow me with academics. I must succeed. I insist. As hard as I worked to get a GPA of 3.8, I felt I could do better. Such pressure, such weight. I applied and got accepted into FDU in Ramapo, only to decide I wasn't ready to go. Unfairness in choices. There's a thought that always puzzles me. When I look at me, what exactly do I see? 2025. I choose me, on my terms, at my pace. There is no rush. My life is not a race. College life and career are not pending, just deferred, as a result of what a not so typical girl preferred. So from that, I decided to repeat my senior year
Mm-hmm.
because I felt I wasn't ready. And with that, I felt I had to advocate for myself because of me not having the academic. I wasn't academically ready, so when I went to special ed needs school, they taught me how to provide for myself, take care of myself, to blend in,
More
but
social.
more social. But academically, I wasn't there yet. So there wasn't anything that could be done. I wasn't there at that level yet so that they could prepare me, but I wanted to go to college, and how could I do that without even being in high school? how could I be ready for high school if I haven't had the full high school experience? Because, like I said, I only went part-time, so I couldn't go. So 2025, I plan on graduating and going to college for music technology, mainly for theater. I was mainly inspired by it because of this one visitor who came into the intensive one week, and I saw all that you could do with that. I do want to do Broadway. I do want to perform. I do want to sing. But for the time being, while I'm starting to build that up, I want to work on my sound, behind the scenes stuff, so I'm more self-sufficient. So
Good for you. That was a good choice.
Yes.
And is that your final message
That
to the
is
people
my
that
final
tuned
message.
in? Advocate for yourself.
advocate for yourself.
Yes, always.
Show off your hidden talent.
Yes.
Show off your hidden brilliance. Shine, my little star.
Yes.
And
Shine
I hope you
bright
guys
like a
enjoyed
diamond.
this podcast. Tune in, like, subscribe, follow my Instagram account at Startism, my TikTok account, 'cause it's on TikTok, everywhere with the same name, STARTIISM. And if you just want to see my regular life, just, me living me, doing me, follow my Instagram at It's Just Java, and I might just follow you back. So thank you all, guys, gals, extraordinary pals, and shine.
Yay.